Good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I hope all is well. So I'm making this video because on my previous video, I had a lot of people comment saying they can't get any clients, which needs addressing. Obviously, to kickstart your business, you need clients. Now, in the previous video, I mentioned you don't actually need a client. You should start with a candidate first. And also, I had a lot of comments saying, yeah, that's what I've been doing and it's working well. So recently, I think that's how the market is moving. So I would advise that method over the traditional email, get some clients, and then, try and source candidates from there. So there's two things I'm going to go through mainly. Now, the first thing is niche. The biggest problem why people can't get clients is they pick the wrong niche. I'll give you an example what a bad niche would look like. I would say where there's either a lot of recruiters and there's not really too much demand, or the position's very easy to fill, or running that business, it's not actually applicable, or it's not affordable, it doesn't make good business sense to use an agent to hire that person. Like, for example, what would be a good one is McDonald's would never use a recruiter. They probably do for certain positions, but most of the time you can post an advert, they've got brand reputation around them. Something like Topshop retail workers, Tesco's workers. That could be an idea of, look, you have to put yourself in a business shoes. What is going to be hard to source? Now, if you found me a salesperson that can make me £100,000 a year, I would happily pay £6,000 for him because he's going to give me a return on his investment, especially if you can show he stays at jobs for 6 years, or she does. So that's an idea of, you can sell that position very easily to a client, or if they're willing to pay. Other things like it's integral to the business, like, I don't know, something to do with software or IT. Whereas if you don't have that position, if your servers go down, no one knows how to fix it. That's something where there's an urgency and you have to pay. Or there's a building development project and you have to get a bricklayer in order for the plumber to do his work, etc. So the niche is important. The niche is something you have to look at. I have made previous videos on niches. There's nothing really more to say about it. But if you're not converting, chances are you're in the wrong niche. So I'll say it again. If you're not converting, if people aren't coming back to you, you're emailing either the wrong person in the business, or you're emailing some positions that don't need recruiters' help, basically. And that's the bottom line. That's usually 90% of everything that's going wrong in terms of I can't get a client. That's what the issue is. Because if you email the right type of job, physiotherapists, software developers, something where there's a demand and they'll address it and they'll speak to you, sure, they'll come back to you. If you email a company and say, I've got some nurses and they're willing to work with you on a permanent basis for the salary you're asking for, 9 times out of 10, they're going to come back to you and say, yeah, I'm very interested. Obviously, we know the situation with doctors and nurses across the country, and as always has been. So going back to, the other 10%, the 90% is going to be the niche. The other 10% is a mix-up of you haven't emailed the right person, you haven't emailed enough, you haven't called enough, or your email templates are a bit dodgy, it's not getting sent. There's other issues. It could be going into spam. So you have to address it. Like, would I use you? And don't forget, you're competing with people in certain sectors where there's big money at stake. You're competing with people that have teams of 150, sometimes 200, with an external outsourced team with years of data. So you must remember, this is who you're competing with. This is business. It isn't respectfully, just because you're working in it, everyone's going to give you a fair share. It's not like that. Recruiters, we don't work with each other. We don't, I can't remember the last time I talked to an agency like that I didn't know. So it's the case of you have to remember that this is business, dog eat dog world, and don't give up, because it pays off, and it certainly does, believe me. So hope you found some value in this video. Pick the right niche, everything else will fall into place, is the bottom line. Take care.